Awesome. Well, when y'all are ready, go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated position. I'm gonna make sure that y'all are muted. And please take some time to get oriented into your space. So gazing around your room, leaning around your hips and twisting around your back to really invite your whole body into the orienting experience and noticing different colors and textures in your space, lighting. Also noticing if there's anything in your room that you tend to pass over really quickly and maybe just letting your eyes settle on something that you don't normally notice, especially if it's something interesting or pleasing to your eyes. Noticing if anything starts to settle for you as you are tuning into your space, letting your body and your nervous system know that you're safe right now, to be present, to be fully here. And continue orienting, but when you're ready, come seated nice and tall with your shoulders stacked over your hips, slight tuck of your chin. You can bring the gaze to the tip of your nose. If you want to soften your gaze, close your eyes, you can do that. Just letting the heart lift here as you ground your hips into the earth a little bit more, inviting in some more yielding quality to the sits bones, to all points of contact with the earth, and feeling a little rebound here as you settle into the earth. Notice how she presses back to lift your spine and maybe open your heart a little bit more, drawing your shoulder blades down the back and slight tuck of your chin, reaching the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Tuning into your breath, noticing the quality of your breath today. Adding anything to label your breath here to make it more tangible for you. So, any colors, temperatures, textures associated with your breath. And also checking in with your hearts, noticing how it's doing, noticing what the heart rate is like, or if there's any other feelings or sensations coming up here in your chest area. And again, placing any colors or textures or temperatures that might be associated with this. If you notice other sensations or feelings coming up, it might be helpful to use shapes or objects, materials, or seasons, like times of the year that could be linked to this feeling or sensation around the heart. And just noticing and observing here. And let's take some time to scan the whole body as well, tracking the whole system here. Just noticing what's coming up for you. Are there any areas that feel settled and soft or stable and really resourcing? And also, are there any parts that feel contracted or activated in some way? As you're scanning, also take some time to really slow down and add, again, some more labels to these sensations that you're noticing, that you're tracking in your body and your system. Remember that you have the earth here underneath your feet and your sits bones. Sometimes tuning in with the texture and the quality, the temperature of the earth making contact with us helps us to stay resourced as we track the rest of our system as well. And I want to invite you to try to use this as a baseline for how you move through your practice today. Really tracking your body and your system as you move through your practice and taking time to slow down to really drop into the feelings or the sensations that are coming up for you today. Let's go ahead and work with the neck and the shoulders a little bit. So go ahead and exhale, dropping your chin towards your chest. Inhale very slowly, roll your left ear to your left shoulder. Exhale very slowly with control, dropping your chin towards your chest, and inhale slowly, roll your right ear to your right shoulder, taking a couple more half circles like this to each side, staying in any spots that feel really sticky that you might want to hang out in and breathe into a little bit. And so today we're working with Asmita or ego, which is the second klesha or obstacle within the yogic path towards liberation and enlightenment. So, again, our ego, I've been talking about this quite a bit, I feel like, the past few weeks, but it's this part of us that tells us to label or discern things between these dualities that often cause us to have attachment to certain pleasures or aversions from certain things that can bring up discomforts or difficulties. Next time your chin comes to your chest, go ahead and inhale, come on up. And very slowly drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And you're going to bring your left hand out to the side. Let that hand be on the earth and let the fingertips kind of crawl out, inch out along towards the left as far as possible, trying to find some more length here in the left shoulder, the left side of your neck. Hanging out here for a few rounds of breath. And sometimes it feels good to explore this sensation coming up in this stretch so you can kind of start to tilt your chin back and forward and noticing how that changes the sensation here in the left side of your neck. And so, yogic philosophy or the path of yoga, in order to ascend our soul and find more connection with our source and towards this part of ourselves that is more permanent and everlasting, that understands infinite capacities of compassion and love and forgiveness. We have to be able to move beyond the ego and not let it drive us so much. So go ahead and, if you're ready, bring your right hand up onto the left side of your head here, and you can kind of use your fingertips on the left side of your head to kind of do this pulling motion. It's more of a pulling than a pushing. Couple more rounds of breath here. Again, tracking what's coming up in your system as sensations start to arise with this stretch. Do we have any resources of support that we've already tuned into that allow us to be present and grounded for whatever is showing up? And bring your right hand to the right side of your head and use that to push it back to center. Good. And very slowly exhale, dropping your left ear to your left shoulder. And let that right hand come out to the side, crawling along the earth here, getting further away. And again, exploring that sensation. So you can kind of tilt your chin forward and back, noticing how that shifts or changes things for you. And so a lot of the times when we're feeling activated or we're in um, these parts of our shadows really come to the surface, that's when the ego really starts to come up and drive us. And so when we're in our yoga practice, we can start to cultivate these resources of support that allow us to stay, again, grounded and oriented to ourselves, to our inner world, to our environments, that allow us to stay centered in who we are at the core of our being. And again, I'm talking about that part of us that is eternal, that came from this source that understands or that has really infinite wisdom and knowledge. Knowing that that's still within us, that we all came from that, and that's where we're all working on returning to, right? If you're ready, bringing your left hand up to the right side of your head, and again, taking your fingertips to do that pulling motion. Again, more pulling than pushing. So with the fingertips. And bringing your hand to the left side of your head and use that to push it back up to center. So you can go ahead and stay here with your hands in your lap. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring our hands onto our thighs and do this pressing motion, squeezing with our fingers in towards our thighs, pressing down with our palms into our legs, and noticing this really stable resource of our legs here supporting us. Our legs that do all these things for us to allow us to move in our lives and experiencing all these amazing things, sometimes really difficult things too, right? But our legs are this container here that's holding us and allowing us to move through that. And our whole body really is this vehicle for us. So can we really press into this here and notice and feel, check in if this is a resource of support for you today. You can start to trace the hands further down the legs, coming to the shins and the calves, sometimes coming to your back or your lower back, giving some pressure here into your lower back feels really supportive. If you're at the feet or the legs, you can do some self massage. You can bring your hands onto your sides and let your hands explore here and touch and apply some pressure here. Sometimes this compression that we can apply to ourselves and our bodies can really bring us back again to that sense of center and embodiments, which can be a really powerful resource again, so that we're not moving from our shadows, we're not moving from our ego, we're moving from this space of regulation. Continue moving through this here if that feels supportive for you, or if you're ready, find some more stillness with your hands on your lap, or if you want to bring them up to your heart center, you can. Just working on setting your intention for your practice today. Using our practice to tune into these things that are bigger than us, and calling in resources of support that allow us to lean in towards those things and kind of help cultivate that relationship to these things, these parts of ourselves and these things around us as well that, again, are more internal, that withstand the tests of time. So sometimes that's thinking of nature, the ocean, the sky, the trees, mountains, sometimes even just houseplants in our space, our connection to loved ones and community. Sometimes it's the magic in the art that we create, or enjoying that magic that other people have created and shared with us in our lives. So, whatever it is that helps you tune in here, that helps you lean into a little more comfort in knowing that there's this internal wisdom that we have within us and that we all share. And allowing that to guide you in your practice today. Being really mindful about the resources of support that we've already cultivated and that we can continue to cultivate in our practice that'll allow us to be present for whatever shows up. Just a couple more rounds of breath here. And in honor and support of that intention, we all sit together, take a big inhale. Exhale, open mouth, side out. Feel free to add in some more vocal quality to that exhale, really letting anything that needs to express and come out, anything that might be discharging, let it come out right now. Inhaling through your nose. Exhale, open mouth side out. One more time, inhaling through your nose. Exhale, open mouth side out. Good. And when you're ready, go ahead and press play on your playlists, making your way onto your hands and your knees for some gentle cat-cow breathing. Inhaling as you drop your belly button towards the earth, lifting your forehead and tailbone. Exhale, round and tuck as you pull your heart and your belly button away from the earth, pulling your pubic bone in towards your forehead. Inhale, drop your spine, lift your forehead and tailbone. Exhale, round and tuck. Feeling the quality of the earth here under your hands and your feet and your knees. Is there anything that helps you ground and find some resource in that? So checking in with the temperature, the texture of the earth underneath you, or again, sometimes it's thoughts of nature that helps bring some more grounding sensations. Inviting in any other movements that your body might need, you can take those here. Good. And inhale, coming to neutral. Exhale, sitting your hips down and back towards your child's pose, resting your forehead on stacked fists, stacked palms are all the way on the earth. Letting your forearms and your elbows soften in towards the earth. Your hips can melt further back and down. You can also use something like a prop blanket behind your knees to support your hips and your legs a little more here. You can also use a prop under your forehead for a little more supports. If it feels accessible to you today, bring your inhales in towards your back, along your spine, and across your back from side to side, spreading out your ribs a little more. And exhale, asking for some more softness in your shoulders, your neck, letting the back melt further, the hips melt further back and down. Let's go ahead and reach the hands out a little bit further, walk them out in front of you a little bit more, and come up onto your fingertips. So you lift the palms, so your elbows and your arms totally come up off of the earth. Seeing if we can even get a more stretching sensation, walking your fingertips forward a little bit more, maybe even kind of this pulling motion to let your heart melt further down towards the earth. We might find some stretching sensation across the back or shoulders when we do that. Good, let's go ahead and walk our hands all the way over towards the right. Let your left hip crease continue to send back and down. So you get this really big stretch from your left hand all the way out through the left hip. And if you stay up on your fingertips, you'll bring this stretch a little bit more into your shoulders still, into the serratus in the left side of your rib cage. Good, and inhale, coming back all the way through center and making your way to the left side. Staying up on your fingertips and really reaching from your right fingers down through the right hip. Seeing if we can find some more sensation here behind the right shoulder blade, the right side of our rib cage. Good. And inhale, coming back to center. Coming up to all fours, taking your time. And let's go ahead and stretch out the wrists a little bit. So keep the palms grounded just as they are and make some circles with your shoulders around your wrists. So a lot of the time some tension comes up in our shoulders and our neck when our wrists aren't moving fluidly or have the stability or the mobility to like oftentimes our shoulder and our neck will compensate for that lack of strength and mobility in our wrists. Switch directions if you haven't already. Good. Coming to neutral, bring your fingers to face away from one another so the backs of your hands will come together, like your wrists will come all the way together, and you'll make some circles like that again. This can be pretty intense. Try to keep the whole palm grounded and just make as small as circles that is appropriate for you, or as large of circles that are appropriate for you. Switch directions if you haven't already. Good, and release. Come onto the backs of your hands so your fingers will come in towards one another. And from here, we're just gonna go ahead and bend the elbows and let the elbows kind of rotate towards the top of your mats. And you're going to straighten the arms and maybe let the insides of your elbow joints rotate to the top of your mat as you straighten. Good. You're going to bend your elbows. They rotate to the top of your mats. Straighten the arms and the inside of your elbow joints, like your triceps wrap back towards each other. A few more rounds like this, only going as far as is appropriate for you. It can be a pretty intense sensation in the backs of the wrists and our forearms. Good. And release. Sit up on your heels, grab your right wrist and make some circles with this fist. Switch directions. And grab your left wrist, make circles with this fist. And switch. And you're gonna come back all the way onto your stomachs. Take your time getting there. Bringing your forearms onto the earth for Sphinx pose. So your forearms are kind of making the figure 11 at the top of your mat here, and you're gonna pull the mat back with your forearms towards your feet to allow you to pull your heart forward through the chest, through the shoulders. You can find some more release here in your lower back by releasing any contraction here in your glutes. Invite in some more softness here. And the work is more so just in your arms pulling back to reach your heart forward. One more inhale here. And exhale, bring your chin down towards your chest. We'll take some more neck rolls this way. Inhaling your left ear to your left shoulder. Exhale down through center. Rolling your right ear to your right shoulder, taking these half circles again, a few more to each side. You can explore taking it back a little bit further past your shoulders. Again, noticing how it feels to kind of tilt your chin up and back once you come to each side. Hanging out in any spots that feel sticky, that you want to take a few breaths in is totally good. Beautiful. Maybe finishing out this cycle. Let your chin hang down towards your chest and come back up on an inhale. And exhale, will lower all the way down. Bring your left arm out to the side. I'm actually going to do this with you because I really need some more shoulder stretches. You can look up at Kyle demoing for you all. So your left arm is out to the side, about shoulder height, maybe a little bit lower than your shoulder. Your right arm comes underneath your right hand under your right shoulder, and your left ear is on the earth. So you're facing away from that hand that's extended. You're going to use your right hand to press into the earth so that you roll over onto the left side body and your left hip. Only go as far as is appropriate for you today. You can keep that right leg straight, or you can bend it. It's coming onto the sole of the right foot, maybe behind the left leg. That actually took a couple years for me to even be able to do that because of how tight my shoulders were when I started. But trying to find some way to anchor the lower body so you can really just bring this stretch into the left shoulder. Some of you might want to take it further and drape the right hand around the lower back. Sometimes for even more sensation, you can keep the right arm straight, like you're trying to grab the left hand with the right. You might not reach at all, that's fine, but it can definitely change the sensation of this stretch. A couple more rounds of breath here. One more full inhale. And exhale, come down through center. We'll take it right to the next side. So reach your right arm out to the side, your left hand under your left shoulder, and use the left hand to press the left side of your body away from the earth, rolling onto the right side. And take whatever variation you took on the first side. One more full inhale here. And exhale, come on down. We're gonna do that one more time to each side, but we're gonna take it a little differently this next time. So next time your left arm comes out to this side, you're gonna bring it into a cactus arm. So like a goalpost here, the left arm is bent at 90 degrees. This is gonna really intensify the sensation, so be very gentle, move very slow. You might not have to go very far at all. You might only get the right side of your body off the ground like an inch or two. Yeah. This should definitely bring the sensation more into your pectorals now. So opening up our chest in this way can really bring a lot of alleviation, better alignment into our shoulders, which again will alleviate a lot of tension in our shoulders and our neck. A lot of the tension that we carry in our shoulders and our neck comes from us protecting our hearts and having our shoulders roll in and down in order to protect. So a lot of stuff we do in yoga helps us to bring more length into the spine to open up the heart and allow the shoulders to roll down and back. One more inhale here. Exhale, come on down. Maybe exchanging a couple rounds of breath before you take this to the next side. And when you're ready, your right ear is on the earth, your right arm comes up to this cactus arm, so bent at 90 degrees. Again, be very gentle. You might not have to go very far. Take it super slow, only going as far as you need to get the sensation in your chest and your right shoulder. As you track these sensations that are coming up in your body, again, can we tune into some resources of support that allow us to stay present for what's showing up? One more inhale here. And exhale, release. Come on down. Let your arms come down by your sides. Really letting your shoulder heads just soften towards the earth completely. This is kind of a good counter pose to that opening in the shoulders, helping us find a little internal rotation in the shoulders, really letting them rest and soften. If you have any old shoulder injuries or anything like that, it's really common that we brace here, especially in the internal rotation. Noticing if any bracing is coming up, and can we lean into the earth here, the earth supporting us as a resource, or whatever other resource you need to invite in some more release. Really letting your shoulders hang heavy as they can towards the earth. Noticing if this translates to areas in the upper back and the neck as well. Good. And when you're ready, bring your hands up by your shoulders. We're going to come up onto all fours. And let's go ahead and step the right foot forward between the hands, coming to a low lunge position. You can bring a pillow or a blanket underneath your left knee for a little more support. You can untuck the toes or keep them tucked, whatever feels best for you here. And we're gonna work on sending the hips forward and down towards the right heel, tucking the pubic bone in slightly, in and up, so we really keep the stretch into the left hip flexor. Reaching your heart forward, finding some more softness in the shoulders. Your hands can be on blocks. If you want to take it up all the way, you can bring the arms up overhead. Couple more rounds of breath here. Exhaling fully. Take one big inhale. And exhale, sit your hips back towards half splits. So your hips come right over the left knee. The right leg extends. You can keep those blocks and bring them back a little further to frame the right leg for support. Maybe see if you can flex the right foot to bring the toes back towards your forehead, and inhale, find your length. Find more length, get long in your spine, lift your heart up a little bit more. Try to keep that length in the spine and that openness in the heart as you exhale and fold, like you're reaching your heart towards your toes. Maybe gazing past the toes to remind us where we're directing our energy towards, where we're going over time. Finding some more length and some more expansion here in the heart and in the hamstring. Couple more rounds of breath here. Tracking your system, noticing what's showing up. Do we have any resources of support that allow us to stay present and centered for the experience? Good. One more inhale. Exhale, starting to bend back into the right knee. Bring it back to meet the left, and we'll take this to the next side. Stepping your left foot forward between the hands, first coming to that low lunge position. So the right knee stays planted. Reaching your heart forward and tucking your pubic bone in and up slightly. So we find this length across the right hip, getting longer in our psoas, reaching the heart up and softening your shoulders away from your ears. Noticing if there's any parts of the body that are bracing or contracting against any difficulties or discomfort that is arising, and seeing if we can invite in some more release here. One more round of breath. Exhaling fully. Take a big inhale. And exhale, send the hips back to your half splits, stacking over your right knee, extending the left leg long. Bring your blocks back to frame the left leg for a little more support if that feels helpful. Remember to find your length in your spine on your inhale, opening up your heart, keeping your spine long and your heart open, maybe keeping the left foot flexed as you exhale, inviting in some more softness as you reach the heart further forward and down. Not to go very far. Just looking for the sensation that brings us to our edge of tolerance and riding behind that, not even being up at it, maybe like 10% behind it, so that we can really stay present, centered. And that's when we're in that space that we can soften and find expansion and allow these experiences to transform us and help us evolve. A couple more rounds of breath here. One more inhale. And exhale, starting to bend back into that knee. Bring it back to meet the right. Coming back to all fours. If you're ready, tucking your toes under, sending your hips up and back to a down dog position. You can always stay in child's pose or work with your cat cows on hands and knees if you're not ready to come up into down dog today. Beautiful. You can find some more length in the hamstrings if you want to pedal out the legs a little bit. You can bend the knees and lift the hips to send the heart closer towards the thighs. You can shake your head no, nod your head yes. Checking in with your head and your neck, your shoulders, inviting in some more softness here. One more full round of breath. Exhale fully. Inhale, gaze up at your hands and take baby steps up to meet them, maybe tiptoeing up to get even more hamstring stretch on the way up. We'll stop with the feet hip width apart here. Inhale, chest up, flat back, get really long from your sits bones to the crown of your head. And exhale, folds. Try to keep your legs long and your spine long in this posture so you can stop your hands on your thighs, your shins, or your ankles for support, or the blocks. You can use blocks again. Some of us are ready to bring peace fingers around the big toes. Good. If you're about 50 or 75% folded, let your gaze come down onto the floor below your nose so that your neck is one long extension of the spine. If you're more than 75% folded, you can let your head and neck hang heavy. Shake your head no, nod your head yes. Pouring more weight towards the balls of your feet, letting your hips come over your ankles. I'd really like to see your legs stay straight here so you get more length in your hamstrings and your lower back. You can always bring your hands up onto blocks or onto your legs for some support in order to find some more length in your hamstrings. One more round of breath here. Exhale fully. Inhale, lift your head and heart flat back. Exhale, your hands come onto your hips and inhale to rise. Exhale when you get there. Taking a moment here, finding a stack in your vertebrae and melting through that stack down through all four corners of each foot. Good. Let's take a balancing pose. So grounding into your left foot, starting to bend the right knee to take weight off of it, displacing the weight towards the left foot. Bring your right foot, the sole of your right foot onto your left ankle, your left calf, or over the knee onto your left inner thigh. You can bring your hands up into prayer at heart center. Might even find some more softness in the shoulders if we want to inhale and bring the arms up. Maybe letting our tree blossom here a little bit so the hands fall away from one another, shoulders soften away from the ears. I find even more opening in my shoulders when I take a big inhale. And exhale, let my hands come down to about 45 degrees while I continue lifting the heart. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. So how does it feel to bring your hands even a little further down, Kyle? Yeah. This allows you to really lift the hearts and kind of use the weight of your arms to pull your shoulders down, finding some more stretch here. Inhale, bringing your arms back up. Exhale down through heart center and gracefully let go of the right foot as gracefully as you can. Good. Maybe shaking that out a little bit. You can shake the whole body, your feet, your legs. Good. Letting your movements get smaller and smaller gradually until you find stillness again. Noticing again, let's track the system. What's coming up for you? That kind of shaking and wiggling can bring some release, some more discharge, and allow that grounding sensation of the balancing pose to integrate. Good. Coming to the other side, starting to shift weight towards the right foot. Bend your left knee, placing the sole of your left foot on your right ankle, your right calf, or above the knee onto your right inner thigh. Hands come into prayer at heart center. If you want to take what we did last time, inhale, reaching your arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale, maybe letting the arms fall apart, shoulders soften away from the ears. And exhale, letting the hands come down even further to about 45 degrees. Letting the shoulders hang heavy while continuing to lift the heart. Checking in with that grounding foot. Noticing how it makes little micro movements to help keep you lifted. And inhale, bringing the arms back up. Hands touch. Exhale, bringing them through heart center as you gently release the left leg. And again, get some wiggles here, shake it out. Maybe find some more bouncing in the shoulders. Shake your head. Cool. We're gonna work through this little exercise. So come with a really wide leg length, wide stance on your mat here. And like you're kind of pulling on some big boots or like some waders onto your right foot, you're pulling it up. And as it comes on, you let that right foot really come down into the earth. So like you're pulling something on, like a boot onto your left leg, pulling it up, letting that left foot really ground, stomp into the earth, let it stomp. We're gonna take that, you can move a little bit more fluidly to each side. Let the earth here really take this energy from your feet. You can really send it downwards through the feet, through the arms. Mama Earth is really great at taking our energy and recycling it and turning it into something useful. So anything that's not serving you, anything that you need to get rid of right now, let it go. Let it go through your feet, your arms, sending it down. Really feeling this connection of the earth under your feet as you take that. Nice. A couple more times each side. Good. And when you're ready, come back up. Oh, maybe taking some couple clearing breaths. You don't have to come to stillness right away. You can keep finding some sways, some movements in the legs, the body, the upper body, the arms. Inhaling through your nose. And exhale, open mouth, really big, side out. Anything looking to move through you, let it go. Inhaling through your nose. Exhale, letting it go. One more time. Inhaling through your nose. Exhale, let it go. Beautiful. Taking some time to just, again, find some stillness and notice any sensations that are coming up in your system now. Notice if anything has come up and shifted, transformed, moved, or discharged in any way. Noticing if anything has changed since the beginning of your practice. Good. And let's go ahead and keep this wide stance. Maybe even making it a little wider if you're not there already. Big toes in, heels out, hands come onto your hips. Inhale, find your length, open your heart. And exhale as you fold. Bring your hands down onto the earth or onto blocks for support. You can keep them on your legs too. This is also a good time to use your yoga chair and use that in front of you to help you fold only halfway so that you can continue to really find length from your sits bones to the crown of your head. We want our spine to stay as long as possible in this pose. Let the hips tilt forward so the tailbone and the sits bones rotate up and back. We can start to shift weight forward towards the balls of the feet and find some more sensation here in the hamstrings and the inner thighs. One more round of breath here. Exhale fully. Inhale, lift your head and heart flat back. Exhale your hands onto your hips. Inhale, coming up. Taking some more shoulder stretches. So you're gonna bring your right arm up overhead, back behind you. Your left arm is gonna do this internal rotation to walk up the back, coming towards the right hands. It doesn't have to touch. You can grab your shirt behind you. You can also use a belt or a little rag or towel or something. And you're gonna kind of press the back of your head into the right forearm to let that right elbow reach up and back a little further, getting some more length here in the right tricep. You can totally stay here. This is more than enough. If you want to take a forward fold, you can on your exhale. Just being very gentle and careful with your shoulders. Couple more rounds of breath. Exhaling fully. If you're folded, inhale to rise. Exhale and release. Let's swing the arms out a little bit, coming out wider and in like you're giving yourself some hugs and opening up. Let's take this to the other side. So your left arm up overhead, right arm reaches up the back behind you. Again, like you're pressing the back of your head into your left forearm so the left elbow reaches up and back. And exhale, take your fold if you would like to on this side too. Remember, staying upright is more than enough. Seeing if we can invite in some more softness in the left tricep and in the right shoulder that's rotating inward. Even finding some more length in our lats here, in our upper back that wrap around our left shoulder blade to bring the left arm up. Exhaling fully. Inhale to rise. Exhale, release. Step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, reaching your arms up. Gaze up. Exhale, folds. Inhale, chest up, flat back. Exhale, making your way back to down dog. One more opportunity here to feel the earth under your hands and your feet to help lift your hips up and back. Find some more length in your hamstrings. Inhale, come down onto your knees. Sit back on your heels. And we're gonna rock over towards the left here. So come to the left side of your hips so that your legs can swing out long in front of you. Good. Legs out long in front of you. Bending your right knee. Sole of the right foot onto the earth. You can bring that right foot in pretty tight. You're gonna hug the right knee in with the left forearm, find your length. Your right arm can be back behind you. Use that right arm for support to help you sit up nice and tall. Gluing your right hip towards down and forward towards the right heel so that we keep this length in our lower back. So the lower vertebrae are all coming straight up from the floor. And exhale, maybe softening a little further into your twists, gazing over your right shoulder. You can keep your left foot flexed. Really hugging in that right knee and keeping that right sits bones shifting down and forward. So our lower back stays nice and long and it's not rounding out. If you notice that your tailbone is kind of getting pulled underneath you and forward, seeing if you can come back out of it. You can also prop yourself up onto some blankets if that feels helpful. Couple more rounds of breath here with every inhale, finding your length. With every exhale, finding some more softness. Beautiful. Inhale, gaze forward. And exhale, release. So take this to the next side. Bringing your left foot in. Hug the left knee in with the right forearm. Left hand can help you sit up nice and tall on your inhale. And exhale, soften for the twist. I'm going to attempt telling a little story as we finish out with our stretching and our practice. So most of you know that I've had a lot of experience with advocacy work, especially for trans advocacy. And yeah, when I started with this work, I definitely had a really hard time not letting my ego drive me. Had a really hard time finding my own center and my own kind of backbone to keep me safe and supported, so that when harms were done unto me or something harmful was, I noticed something harmful towards the community, I had a really hard time with it. I would often tell myself like, oh, this space really isn't for me. I don't belong here. This world or this culture wasn't set up for me. And it would cause me to really shrink and get small and begin to believe in not having a right to exist or be here. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, release. Coming onto your backs, we'll finish out with another couple twists to end the practice. So you're going to hug your right knee in, let the left leg stay out long along the earth. Really hug that right knee in and let the right knee cross across your body over towards the left side here. As you roll over here towards the left, you can bring a prop, a pillow or something under the right knee for a little more support. Your right arm can reach out to the side or up overhead. Your left hand can be planted on the right thigh for a little more support. Over time, seeing if we can soften the right shoulder and the right ear towards the earth, and also letting that right knee stay anchored on something, whether it's a block or a pillow or the ground. Good. So yeah, the moral of the story is that I didn't have a lot of resources of support to keep me grounded and in my center, to not sway me from my true self, who I really am. And again, it's that eternal being that we all are, knowing that we're all perfect just the way that we are, and we're created here, we're put here with our gifts and our talents, and we all have a birthright to feel nourished and supported by the earth, to belong in community. It's hard to remember those things when we don't have our center. Exhale fully, and inhale, come back to center. Release, hugging the left knee in, and let that left knee cross over towards the right. Take your time getting there, taking this to the other side. Take whatever variation you took in your arms on the first side. So it took me a lot of practice in building my resources, so that yesterday, when it was time for me to advocate for myself again, in a space where I didn't really feel like I was supposed to be the teacher, this person was supposed to be holding space for me, I was able to show up in order to elevate both of us. And it's in order to shed some light towards things that maybe this person wasn't seeing. And I was able to come to it with this intention of finding some more unity with myself in being able to discern between the ego self and the soul self and move from that soul space and to see this other person's soul, knowing that they're showing up and doing their best too. And they just don't have the skills or the resources in order to show up the way that I deemed as right or appropriate. But when I was able to see that part of the story, I was able to show up with compassion and with this intention to bring more unity and less separation and less division, even though I felt that something harmful had been done. And this is the work of moving out of the ego. When you're ready, inhale, come back to center. And exhale, release. Finding Shavasana. Take what you need to complete your practice. You might need to take a happy baby or a plow, shoulder stands, some more twists, figure four, whatever it is you need. Take a couple minutes here to finish making your way to Shavasana. When we move away from our ego selves, it doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong. What matters is healing any separation or division within us so that we can sit with other people and notice our differences and hold space for them. And maybe even holding space in such a way that we're able to have compassion or shine some lights or even inspire transformation from a place that we see in others that comes from pain or great suffering. Scanning the body here in Shavasana, letting all these intentions that you've set in your practice that you've been working with land here in your system, let them integrate. Feel the earth at all points of contact holding you and protecting you so you can rest. You can simply be. Notice any parts of the system that still might feel activated or contracted. Bringing in the resources of the ground underneath you or whatever else it is in your practice that allows you to gently and compassionately ask for some more release. We'll just be here for another couple minutes together. Gently begin to deepen your breath, letting your breath be the first gentle movement back in your body, bringing you back to this time and space. When you're ready, slowly wiggling your fingers and your toes, maybe rotating your wrists and your ankles, stretching up overhead on your inhale. And exhale, hooking your knees into your chest if that feels good. Giving your body some gratitude here for all the ways it's allowed you to show up to your practice. And thanking yourself also for coming here to do this work, for being mindful and allowing yourself time and space to slow down and track your systems, knowing that it's all a practice. The stories and the experiences that I shared, they don't happen overnight, and they're still a really big practice for me. And I say all of this in the hopes that we can slow down and track. We can allow things to show up and notice what is showing up without bypassing all the feelings, all the experiences that need to be acknowledged, so that we then can use those experiences to begin to transform a little bit more. So when you're ready, roll onto your favorite side. Take a couple breaths here. When you're ready, use the arm that's on top to gently press you up. Try to come up as passively as possible. You can keep your eyes soft and closed if that feels best. Stopping with your hands in your lap, or if you want to bring them up to the heart space, you can. Showing some gratitude for these lands that we get to practice on, for the original stewards of these lands who may still be here, giving gratitude and thanks, knowing that without them and the way that they've tended to these lands, that we wouldn't be here receiving nourishment and supports. And also taking a moment to dedicate ourselves to continue being stewards of this land. Nourishing and supporting and taking care, so that I can continue to take care of us and our own individual and collective healing in this generation and for many generations to come. Also, of course, honoring the lands in which these practices came from and all of the people and teachers who've passed down these practices for us to receive. Maybe bowing your head to your heart for a moment in gratitude. When you're ready, come on up. Finishing with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let this first piece be for yourself. The second one be for those that you love and those that we got to share this space with today. I'll send the third one out to all sentient beings on Mama Earth. Feel free to join in or simply listen and enjoy. Inhaling to Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. The love and light within me acknowledges and reflects the love and light that's so evident in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for letting me share my practices and my stories and my experiences with y'all.